Stop me if you've heard this before. The Cowboys got beat handily by San Francisco, and Dak had several interceptions. Brock Purdy alone rushed for more yards than the Dallas Cowboys. They are a poorly constructed football operation. Their defense, only the Carolina Panthers have a worse defense in the NFL. Hey, but Dak got the bag again. Good luck with that. I think the Dallas Cowboys immediately have to consider being sellers at the deadline. Their schedule gets even harder. It's time for a rebuild. They do nothing well. A rebuild starting with a kicker. I like him. He didn't even show up. He had jury duty. He's still good. Like the kicker. But this is a really bad football team. And the next 4 games are against the Falcons and the Eagles and the Texans and the Commanders. And all of those teams won yesterday. And all those teams now are playing really good football. So you think, oh, we got the Niners out of the way. No, I'd argue right now the Commanders are playing better than the Niners. The Eagles yesterday were fantastic. I mean, the Texans, say what you want about the Texans, but when they're healthy, they're really good. And Atlanta, they're going to win their division. I mean, here's what makes it worse. Dallas now 3-4. San Francisco was down like 4 or 5 high-end starters. They were on their 3rd running back. They're on their 3rd kicker. And then Deebo Samuel gets hurt during the game. Brock Purdy didn't play well, and they still rushed for 223 yards. They still did it. I mean, they're down multiple players. Christian McCaffrey's coming back soon. Juwan Jennings coming back soon. They're getting guys back. So off a bye, Dallas showed a little bit of life in the first half. But then it went to the second half, and the Cowboys' first 3 second-half drives. Listen to this. Pick, 3 and out, 3 and out. And the Niners, with the better coach making adjustments, their first 3 possessions in the second half, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. They outgained the Cowboys just in the 3rd quarter, almost 10-1. So, and this is off a bye. This is when you're rested. Yeah, Micah Parsons wasn't there. I mean, how many? Christian McCaffrey wasn't there for the other guys. So, you know, the old saying, if you fool me once, shame on you. If you fool me twice, shame on me. If you fool all of us for like 29 years, what does that translate to? The Mike McCarthy Cowboys look now like the Jason Garrett Cowboys. That looked like the Wade Phillips Cowboys. That looked like the Chan Gailey Cowboys. I mean, outside of Boeing, has any major brand fallen harder and faster in the last 12 months than the Dallas Cowboys? I just don't get it. The schedule's getting tougher. Dak against the better teams can't play. I think you have to sell it. I think you have to keep the kicker, keep CeeDee Lamb. I guess you keep Dak and just move parts. Trade deadline's coming up. A lot of people would go for Micah Parsons. A lot of people would. DeMarcus Lawrence, one of the corners. Maybe your tight end. I mean, you're a mile away from Detroit. I watched Philadelphia yesterday. That roster is stacked. San Francisco's better than you, and they're not healthy yet. Kansas City's and Buffalo's and Baltimore's and Houston's. And, I mean, the Chargers looked good yesterday. I mean, this roster is not top 10. I'm not sure if it's top 15 in the league.
Okay, so let's talk about this because I know Dallas Cowboys want to really blame the injuries. But how can you, right, at this point, especially when you're going up against the 49ers who are missing so many starters, right? They're missing legit bona fide stars. And yet, Dak and the Dallas Cowboys still can't even really look even competent at this point, right? Because we can blame the O-line and the lack of run game. That had nothing to do with Dak's interceptions. I know Bosa came on Dak that one time, but that ball was going to get intercepted no matter what. You saw, I forget who it was for the 49ers, but he read that play the entire time. There was nowhere that Dak was going to be able to throw that ball that he wasn't going to be able to jump that and intercept it. And then when he tried to do the soft toss, the soft touch to CeeDee Lamb, I mean, that had nothing to do with an offensive line. That had nothing to do with a lack of receivers or lack of run game. It's just an awful pass. I mean, CeeDee Lamb immediately just hangs his head and just goes to the, to the sideline. I mean, he just knew, like, what the heck. And then again, you got some garbage points at the end of the game that now is like, oh, he was 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it's like, come on, man. Let's just stop. I mean, look what happened. Look how the 49ers played the Chiefs. Look how the 49ers played the Rams, the Cardinals. The Cowboys, even if they're injured and banged up, they're still supposed to be better than some of these teams. Especially if you say that Dak is as amazing as you think he is, right? He should be able to overcome some of these issues. But here's the reality, because I know Cowboys fans obviously don't like the Eagles, and understandably. But when Jalen Hurts had some injuries, and he looked really bad, and I was like, hey, there's a lot of injuries. We got, he's got no one to throw to. He doesn't have his number one, his number two receiver. He's down multiple O linemen. Like, what do you want him to do? And Cowboys fans had said that's no excuse. It's no excuse. But then what is the excuse then for Dak? Because everyone says, or at least Dallas Cowboys fans say, that Dak is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. That he's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. That he's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. So then why do those quarterbacks look better than Dak even when they're dealing with injuries? Baker Mayfield had 1 million injuries. He's got nobody to throw to with the Buccaneers right now. And yet he almost pulls off a win against the Falcons yesterday. Brock Purdy's pulling off some wins. Brock Purdy's had some really bad games as well, but he's pulling off some wins. And he's down to his third running back, his third field goal kicker. Ayuk gone, Debo gone, right? These guys are all in now the lineup. Juwan Jennings are gone. But they find a way. He finds a way. Why is it that the billion-dollar quarterback can't find a way, or at least do make something out of nothing sometimes? But instead, he puts his team at a deficit, throwing these really bad interceptions on like your own 30. Like that is something that you have to reconcile with. It's something that you have to accept. I mean, this is what Collinsworth said. I have no idea what Dak saw there. There were 3 Niners in the line of sight. That was when that one pass that he threw that easily could have been intercepted, but it was dropped, and he was speechless. This is Dak's 3rd consecutive multi-interception game. I mean, the team is not good. It's not well constructed. It's not well coached. And the players that the Cowboys really rely on to prove that they're special, they're just not. That's the reality. I am sympathetic to having all these injuries. No quarterback can consistently play great when you don't have a team around you. Whether you're Mahomes, Brady, doesn't matter. So I am sympathetic to that. Dak would look a lot better with a better O-line and a better run game. No question about it. But he's also essentially doing nothing to even remotely overcome any of this. And when facing another team that's really bad, or injured, I should say, he does not look as good. And when you're having these other teams that are injured and going up against other teams, they play better. Now we can say maybe that's coaching, maybe that's quarterback, maybe it's just where the injuries are. I'll let you decide that, but this is just not encouraging moving forward. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? And I guess the question, buying Cowboys as a playoff team? I mean, I'm not. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.